Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk to Experts Tuesday. My name is Sue Macaluso, and I am the Senior Community Specialist in Qlik. Today's topic is Qlik Business. Before we get started, I'm going to introduce you to Jamie Gregory, who will introduce herself, and as well as the rest of the team that is here to answer your questions today. She will also go over some guidelines for our chat. So enjoy. Again, thanks for joining. And Jamie, take it away.
Thank you, Sue. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talk to Experts Tuesday. This series allows us here at Qlik to connect with all of you. Each session, we will have a different topic with subject matter experts on the call. We will use this time to field your questions, share resources, and hopefully demonstrate a few things within the product. We will review a few housekeeping items, which will then lead into today's topic. To give you all some time to get your questions in, we'll also share a little bit about ourselves and then start answering your questions. So for housekeeping, everyone is muted, so please make sure you use the Q&A panel to ask your questions. It should be at the bottom of your screen. We won't be responding back necessarily within the panel as we're trying to get to everyone's questions live today. If we don't get to your question, or if it's something that may take some time to research, it will be posted in the community along with the recording. So we'll have a FAQ and then the recording and transcript. And I'll show you guys where those will be a little bit later. So please keep in mind that even though some of us are within Qlik support, we are not able to answer questions regarding a specific case, nor will we be able to answer really any scripting or development questions. So we do ask you to keep the questions at the topic at hand. And today's topic is, of course, Qlik Business. So as you all hopefully know by now, Qlik Business is our subscription-based cloud offering. The focus of Qlik Business is to empower all of you to make faster data-driven decisions. It has the same Qlik associative engine as well as the core features as Qlik Enterprise. And it's the same user interface as Qlik Cloud Services. The environment is completely managed by us, so you don't have to maintain any servers or worry about any upgrades. And in fact, you get the newest features and functionality before anyone else. So let us know what kind of questions you have on Qlik Business. Are you wondering how to get started within Qlik Business? Would you like to know more about a feature? Do you have an administrative question? Let us know in the Q&A panel below. So while we wait for all of you to enter in your questions, I would like to take this time to introduce the panel for today. So with me, I have Adam Sawyer, Senior Technical Support Engineer, George Thomas, Customer Support Analyst, Thomas Hopp, a Senior Product Manager, and Alistair Eves, Product Management for the SaaS Experience. All right, so now that I've butchered that, let's go ahead and start with the introductions. Adam, if you could go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, my name is Adam Sawyer, as Jamie said. As a Senior Technical Support Engineer, one of the things I help with is with updating Qlik's processes to be more SaaS oriented. And so I do a lot of process management. I work with the product management groups a lot, with the R&D groups a lot, just to make sure that things are flowing well. I started here at Qlik about 3 years ago, working on Qlik Enterprise for Windows infrastructure and integrations. So happy to be here today.
Awesome, thank you, Adam. George.
Hello, everyone. I'm George Thomas. I'm a customer support analyst, so I kind of touch everything in the support side of the business. But lately, I've been specializing in our SaaS products, especially Qlik Business, getting everyone kind of onboarded, upgraded to Qlik Enterprise if needed, and just kind of dealing with all licensing, basic support issues, and just making sure the customer has a good start.
Perfect.
I've been with Qlik, about 3 years.
Awesome. Thank you, George. All right, Thomas.
Yeah, so apart from like taking George's last name to make it my first name, so that's no, so like Thomas Hopp, I'm part of the product management team, working with the Windows platform, but as well as with the overall administrative experience in our Qlik SaaS products. I'm with Qlik now for about 15 years, so I've been in the field pre-sales and post-sales before, so I've seen quite a few kind of things as well in the field, and yeah, happy to be here to help you answering your questions, and yeah, that's me.
Perfect, thank you, Thomas. All right, and last but not least, Alistair.
Yeah, my name's Alice Reeves. I'm also in product management, in particular looking at the SaaS experience. And to a certain extent, yeah, Thomas and I work very closely together. Maybe Thomas is more on the kind of technical back-end side, whereas I'm kind of more looking at, let's say, the consumption, the consumer, or kind of basic creation and those workflows in the SaaS experience. So I'm very interested to hear all your questions, and I'm sure we'll have a good session.
Great. Perfect. Thank you, Alistair. All right, so my name, like Sue said, is Jamie Gregory. I've been with Qlik now about 3 years. I started off working a lot with Qlik Sense Enterprise and Qlik View a little bit and Geoanalytics, and then I kind of shifted over to Qlik Sense Cloud, which you previously known Qlik Sense Business as. So I've been concentrating on that, and then I'm also part of our digital support team now, and so I focus a lot out on the Qlik community, writing the blogs, and creating content for all of you. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Don't forget, you can put your questions in the Q&A panel below. So our first question for the day is drill downs. Clicking on something makes a selection. Would it be possible to double click and see a more detailed view? It can be another sheet.
Yeah. So I mean, Alice and I were to chat about this earlier. So I think the question here on that topic would be, well, I mean, the way how we understand the question, at least, is that someone is like trying to make selections in the app, and obviously like Qlik, I mean, that's a Qlik, no matter what the product is, like the same behavior exists actually for Qlik View and for Qlik Sense on Windows as it exists in the SaaS platforms. As soon as you select the value, if that's in a, you know, in a whatever table or like even in a bar chart or whatever, you know, you can then you know, select something, and then if you want, for instance, like, you know, to introduce like a button or something to jump into another sheet, yeah, that would be an option. But, you know, to introduce like a double click on a specific value is something that we, you know, we're not doing it that way. But that's at least how we understand the question. And I just saw, you know, I could, but I would have, I mean, I can, if we park that one for a second, I can probably even see if I can.
Thomas, maybe I could add a few things there, and it depends. The question was, you could interpret it in different ways, but just to make sure that I'm going to share my screen if possible, just to show you just some of the basics that can be done. So let me just do that. All right, here we go. So here you can see I've just created a chart, and actually if I just go behind the scenes, I'm actually for this chart using what we call here a drill down. So I've got these different fields configured. So just so that the question isn't kind of targeting some of the behavior that we have already built in. So here, if I take these product groupings and I now make a selection, this will actually drill down into that subgrouping. So I've got here product group and product subgroup. So again, I'm not sure if the question wanted to go deeper than that, but we do have drill downs at this level built into the product.
Perfect. I'll go ahead and share my screen as well, just to show a couple more options. So you can also, there is the ability to link sheets. It's not, you know, it's not the same as like the drill downs, but you can link a sheet as well. So if you're in your sheet and then you click on an object, and then if you go down to, it's under on appearance presentation, there is the ability to link a sheet here. So you can toggle it on and off, and then select whichever sheet that you want to link, and then it'll show this icon here. And as far as creating like the drill downs, like dimensions that Alistair was showing, I believe it's under here, and then you go to master items, create new. Oh, that's a state. Hold on, just 1 second. create new, you have the drill down option here. So you can build a drill down dimension so that you can do those drill downs. So there are a couple different options. We're not sure if that's the workflow that you're looking for specifically. If you want to let us know, we can clarify. And if it's not something that you're exactly looking for, but we're close or something like that, you do have the option to create product enhancement ideas. So if you go here to the community, we have the ideas section on our Qlik community. You do have to be a member of the Qlik community, so you'll make sure you're signed in and everything like that. And then you go down here to product insight and ideas, and then ideas.
And just one note, you would have to be tagged as a customer or a partner in the community to access, to actually, you could see the ideas, but you won't be able to post one.
Add one, gotcha. Yep, that makes sense. So you do have to be a customer or a partner. And then you can come in here, you can search for ideas and you can vote on ideas. And so this is a great way. Once the ideas are entered into this site, then people like Thomas and Alistair, they review these ideas to see if it's something that can be added to the product. And they communicate with you throughout the entire process of the idea. So here are some of the recent ideas. So always, come back and visit this page as often as you like. Take a look at the ideas that are already out there. We have hot ideas, top ideas, new ideas, and you can vote on them by liking them. See, I'm not logged in, so it's not going to let me like it right now. But you can also comment on it and everything like that. So this is a really great way to make your voice heard. And like I said, if we showed you a couple different things there with creating the drill down dimensions and linking different sheets, if that's not what you're looking for exactly, you can come in here and just let us know specifically what you're looking for. Screenshots are always a great idea to help illustrate, and we'd be happy to take a look at that for you. All right.
I see a question here about what training is available for QlikSense Business. So we actually have quite a bit of training, and kind of what Jamie mentioned earlier about QlikSense Business is that it's run on the same platform as QlikSense Enterprise. So kind of all our training goes together. Let's see, I can share my screen and show you guys show you guys our kind of our learning portal, which used to be known as QCC. Some of you guys may have known. Let me, one second. Sorry, I'm having some issues. So I can't seem to share my screen right this second. Something happened on my end.
I could share it, and then you can just tell me where to go.
You don't mind, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so so here's our, go to learning.qlik.com. And then, so basically this is our learning portal. Has a lot of training for QlikSense, some QlikView training as well, but any QlikSense training is going to be for QlikSense Enterprise as well as QlikSense Business. So there's a couple different ways you can get training in here. It's best to create an ID and log in so you can access all this. So we have our continuous classroom, which is basically going to be module learning, kind of go at your own pace. A lot of these little modules are actually free. So you can kind of start some of the beginner modules without having to purchase a subscription to our training education. So you can kind of start through there and just go at your own pace and going through these modules, which include tons of videos, how-tos, even data to help you kind of do the exact same things you're seeing in the modules. So this is kind of a great way to get started. You can also choose kind of what kind of user you are. If you're going to just be a business user, if you're going to be a data architect, you can kind of go through there and figure out what best fits for what your need is. And then if you kind of want more hands-on, someone kind of telling you where you can ask questions during the middle of it, you can do instructor-led training. So basically you can see all the training in your area. I think most of it's going to be Zoom training for now until we kind of get through this pandemic. But yes, so you can kind of schedule a training that fits for you. Some of these are just 1 day, some are 3 days, basically 8 hours a day usually. And you kind of just sit in a Zoom classroom and have an instructor live, one of our experts, teach you how to do this topic you decide to pick. And there you can ask your questions live, be in a room of maybe 15 people. So not too many people, and just kind of have that hands-on dedicated training so you can kind of ask the questions that you may not be getting from the modules. This is a kind of a paid training, but the pricing is reasonable and you kind of learn a lot. We here at Qlik actually take a lot of these courses and they do help quite a bit.
Absolutely.
So just remember that if anything's QlikSense, it's always going to be QlikSense or QlikSense Business. So it could be enterprise or business, but they all work on the same platform. So it'll kind of all work as the same. And if you kind of want some specific stuff, we do have a YouTube channel that shows you kind of our QlikSense Business, some of the things that do with that. So that's a good resource to have as well. It's just to go to our YouTube channel and then search for QlikSense Business there, just QlikSense as well.
Yep. And we also have a playlist for QlikSense Business that kind of helps get you started. Let's see. I won't play it, but the first video is actually how to get started with QlikSense Business. And then we have quite a few other videos in here as well. So YouTube is always a great resource. Like George said, the learning page is a great resource, lots of training and videos. And then also in the community, you can learn a lot by navigating around in the community and going to the boards and asking questions. It's a great place to help you get started with QlikSense Business. Perfect. Is there anything else, George? Is that it?
You covered it. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing for my technical difficulties.
No problem. It happens. It happens for sure. All right. Let's see. What other questions do we have? Access rights differentiation. And this kind of goes in conjunction with the drill down question that we had previously. And let's say that every next drill down has a wider user base. So as far as access for QlikSense Business goes, let me just kind of take you through. So if we go to the administration, you can assign your users. And really they have, I believe, professional access. Is that correct, George?
Yes, QlikSense Business only has professional.
Only professional access. So the way that you give rights is throughout QlikSense Hub itself, so to different spaces. So you can create these different spaces that different groups of people have access to. That's one way to give access to different people. I don't believe that there's anything within an app, except for, I guess, section access. You can do section access now in QlikSense Business. So you can give rights specifically within the app itself to different data points, if that makes sense. Those would be your kind of main administrative access rights. Is there anything else that I'm missing, George or Adam? You guys might know this a little bit.
You can also give tenant admin rights, but that won't really go within the actual
with the
apps
data
and stuff. But yeah.
So
yeah, that would be more for the console.
Okay. Yep. So the two main points for access rights would be giving a user access to the space, and then you could get a little bit granular with giving them rights to the data via section access. If you're unfamiliar with section access, let me see if I can pull up the help link to it.
So while you do this, Jamie, maybe I can add something here from a more well, roadmap perspective in a way, because we have heard a couple of people asking, well, not necessarily right now in the call, but a couple of people asking about more fine-grained control.
Absolutely.
In Condor. Right now, as George said, you have a tenant admin, but not really many more roles. So we are looking into the fact that we do want to offer more roles. Like as an example, instead of just saying everyone who is a tenant admin or having a professional license should be able to create a shared space, we have the idea is to have a specific role for that, and so to speak, making it more fine-grained to manage the security within the tenant. So that's something that's planned for, let's put it this way, the next kind of 6 to 9 months, roughly speaking. So.
Okay, great. That's awesome to hear. So here is, this one is for QlikSense on Windows. We do have a specific SaaS editions of QlikSense documentation, but you can mostly follow this along with this one as well. But here's section access, and you can implement that. It goes into the script. So again, if you're not familiar with this kind of stuff, it is a little bit more advanced. So you might want to get some assistance with the Qlik community, or kind of reach out to, if you have like a Qlik salesperson or anything like that, they can usually get you assistance with this. Generally, our help menu, though, is very helpful. It will usually have an example script or something like that that you can copy and paste it in, and then make some minor tweaks to it, or just some tweaks to it to kind of get you started at least. There is that. All right, so let's see. Next question, and again, it is along the lines of the last two questions. So Qlik alerting based on the above user differentiation. So as far as I know right now, the alerting is primarily for like reloads. Let me go back into the hub.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what we allow to notify off of is basically app reloads, successes and failures, app deletions, and then app additions, right? And so this is really about knowing when users are updating data, when they're creating things in an app or in a space, when they're removing things in a space, or they're just editing any of the permissions.
Perfect. And so you can have web notifications, which would just be this little bell up here. You can also get email notifications. To get the email notifications, you do have to set up your email server. I believe it's in the is it settings or administration?
Administration.
Administration. Yep.
Yeah, and what you have to do is you have to have a active SMTP relay that either you can credential to, or that's open, or has some other sort of validation, right? So right now we only allow sender email address and password. So you're basically sending as the user in that SMTP relay. But we do support a number of security functionalities, and you can put a custom port in as well.
Perfect. Yep. So hopefully that answers those questions. If you need anything, more defined or anything like that, just let us know. All right. So I wanted to know if there is any way to change from the US to the EU while keeping my account. I found nothing in the parameters, or do I need to start again with a new account to set it to EU? So this person created a new tenant, and they set it to US, but they might actually be in Europe, and so they want to, reset their tenant to the EU. Is that possible?
I can answer that. Currently, that's not possible. When you create a tenant, what you're actually doing is creating it on an entirely separate cluster and a separate data center and all of that. And so while the interface is very easy of just selecting your region, you're actually, for the time of that tenant in that region. We don't currently offer that as a service. We don't offer that as a change request or a service request. If there's interest in doing that, that's something that we could investigate, and Alistair or Thomas, you guys could talk about possible future roadmap. But as of right now, we don't offer that, and that's because you're actually being installed in a particular cluster in a particular data center.
Yeah, no, that's 100% correct. Well, the only thing I can add to that we are kind of looking into, the ability to maybe, offer something where you can send content in between. That's something that we are looking at but not really the fact to to change the region, because that's, as you just said, Adam, right? I mean, that would be more like cut and paste of the whole kind of thing, which is not in the roadmap right now. So
Perfect. All right. All right. So I've used Qlik since Enterprise before, and using the QMC was very easy. I was able to set nightly load tasks and everything. However, I'm currently using Qlik Sense Business. How can I access the QMC to perform those same tasks?
yeah, so I mean, I can answer the question, but you share the screen here. But so the easiest is like scheduling is happening via the hub. That's the one. So the management console offers like a list of, show me all my schedules. But you would actually, if you click on the three dots here next to that sales app, Jamie, right? Then you have like the schedule reload capability, and that's where you kind of define it, and there you've got all the options, Then when I'm saying all the options, so this is something that we are planning to, to increase in terms of, functionality. So, but this is where you schedule. So that's one of the general kind of principles here, like when we kind of introduce the SaaS product. So we are making this more content driven. So there's no need to go back and forth to do this. There's no need to say, do the scheduling in the management console, and then I'm going back to my content. So it's all in the same place, so to speak, right? And that's where we, but still there's a plan to introduce more scheduling capabilities as well over time, but it will not move in a way from the hub to the console again. So that's
Perfect. So keeping it all in the same place makes it, a lot easier, less sites to try and remember.
Yep.
That's always helpful. All right, let's see. I registered for a Qlik Sense business trial, and after the completion of the process, I got a landing page which says, "Thank you for your interest in Qlik Sense. Please check your email on how to access your trial." However, the issue is I have not received my email on how to access my trial. I have already checked my spam and junk folders too.
Can take this one. So yeah, this comes up a couple times, but yes, so I can share my screen this time. I haven't figured it out.
Perfect.
Make sure that's the right one. Okay, share. So what you can do before you contact support, can you guys see my screen, is go to kind of your Qlik portal. It's kind of where you'll do all your account administration stuff. And once you register, it should be created. So even before that email comes out to create your tenant, this should already be created. So just go to myqlik.qlik.com/portal. And this will take you to your MyQlik portal. And from here, you kind of have all your subscriptions, your personal information, payment, billing, everything for your account. But what I want to point out for this issue, if you didn't receive the email, is you can come up here to your little avatar bubble right here and just click this and hit create tenant. This should resend the email. If you still don't get the email, it's still not in your junk or spam, I think it's from noreply@qlik.com, then you need to you need to go contact our support team, our customer support. The easiest way to do that is just go to support.qlik.com. If you're a customer, you can try logging in here, and then you can create a case, but if not, you can create a guest case just by going to contact. I'm not logged in right now. You just go to contact, submit a case. Should take you to this page where you just use this drill down right here. I have issue with Qlik Sense Cloud. And you basically, okay, this wants me to log in because it's the issue with Qlik Sense Cloud. Let's try a login issue. There we go. So just say you have a login issue. This won't be considered a technical case. And then you just kind of fill out this, try to give as much information in the summary when you go through all the little drop downs, include your email that you registered with, anything else you may have, and that will open a case with our support team, and they'll reach out and basically get that, kind of see what the issue is and make sure you get the email needed to kind of access the email and create your trial.
probably, George, like one thing I would add here, I mean, it's maybe, well, using a second, like using just another email address, I mean, that should be easy to see, to set up. Maybe that's another kind of, quick way to do it. Like just try to see if you have a second email address. that you can validate that with, because if I'm using it, I mean, so we are not, for instance, allowed to use any Qlik.com email addresses, as you know, this is like how we set it up. But you know, when you want to do this, you know, you can use Gmail or whatever you want, you know, just to set up a second and then try this again. Maybe that's another one you can.
That's a very good point, because sometimes some internal companies will block certain emails coming in. So using even a personal one is a great idea.
Perfect. All right, so everyone, make sure you're using the Q&A panel to get your questions in. And we do ask that you try to stay on topic with Qlik Sense Business. We do have other sessions that are happening. We can go through those a little bit later. If you guys are interested to hear about those, just let us know. Use the Q&A panel to get your questions in, and we're happy to answer them. All right.
And Jamie, just to add, for the upcoming sessions, you will see them advertised not only on the Talk to Experts Tuesday page in the Qlik community, it'll also be on the events and webinars page of the Qlik community as well for the upcoming events. We do have them all lined up. They're just not all advertised yet, but they will be soon.
Yep, perfect. I'll just show that really quick since we're talking about it. Maybe. I just lost the Zoom.
It's hiding on you.
There we go. These windows like to disappear. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So yes, where you can find everything, all the events and everything like that, we do have a Qlik events page on the community.qlik.com. So if you click on that and go to events and webinars, this will list all the webinars that are currently happening. We do have on-demand webinars as well. So if you're interested in any of those are always a great thing to check out, learn about different things happening within Qlik. And then our Talk to Experts Tuesday, you'll see them sprinkled within. And then there's also the Do More with Qlik, which is a really great session with Mike Turallo, if you guys are interested in that. All of the events here you can sign up for, and like I said, some of them are on demand, and then some of them are actual on a scheduled basis. And as far as where you can find our Talk to Experts Tuesday recordings and transcripts and everything like that, if you go to Qlik Support Programs here, and then Talk to Experts Tuesday, we have our own little landing page. It'll list the upcoming events. The next session is on Qlik Replicate, and that's October 20th. And then here under past events, you'll see the list of our previous events with the recordings and the transcripts. And then when you go into one of these events, like our first event was actually on Qlik Sense Business. So that's pretty cool. We're doing another one for you guys. You'll see the FAQ that was created. So this is an article that gets created, and it'll take you to the article and all the questions that were asked during that session, along with all the answers. And so this is the FAQs are in the support knowledge base. So here on the community again, support knowledge base. So you can actually search, if you just search FAQ or Qlik Sense Business FAQ, anything along those terms, you'll get the FAQ to pop up.
And just to add too, for any of these events, if you subscribe, Jamie's not logged in, so it was kind of grayed out.
Oh, yeah.
But if you subscribe to the events and webinar, or you subscribe to the Talk to Experts Tuesday page, you'll get an email notification when something new is posted. So,
Yep.
you know, if you know you don't always have to check back. You'll be notified automatically.
Yep. So I would subscribe to the this page, and of course, if you haven't subscribed to the Support Updates blog, you should definitely be subscribed to that as well. This is how we get information out to all of you. It can be anything about webinars that are coming up, critical issues in the product, updates, upgrades. When there's updates to Qlik Sense Business, we try to make a write-up about that. So quite a few different blogs in here, and you can subscribe to that as well. All right, let's see. We do have a question, and they said they have questions related to Qlik Sense Enterprise Edition November 2019. Should I attend a webinar at a different time? So yeah, this one is specific to Qlik Business. I would definitely, we just had a Qlik Enterprise on Windows session not too long ago. We don't have one upcoming. If you want to try to ask your question, we could maybe try to look at it if we have enough time. You can also, you know, go to Qlik Community and ask your question on there. If you go to Qlik Data Analytics, Qlik Sense.
Yep.
There's also a board here as well. So you can use any of those boards.
And in addition to that, since we did already hold the Qlik Enterprise session already, you can go back to the transcripts that Jamie spoke about, because perhaps there's a question that was asked there that was answered, and you can find it there too.
Yep. You can check the FAQ, take a look at the recording, see if we already answered the question. If not, like I said, you can ask it in here, or we can see if we can get to it. And then we are trying to, you know, keep it to Qlik Business, but you can also ask on the community. So again, that's if you go to Qlik Data Analytics Forums, Qlik Sense, and then you can choose the board that, you know, would represent your question. Perfect. All right, so once again, make sure you're using the Q&A section to ask your questions so that we can get them answered for you. All right, so this is kind of a long question. We'll see what we can do about this one. I uploaded Excel files to my data files folder. There was unfortunately an error in 2 files, and I needed to load updated files. When I now upload the updated Excel file, I receive an undefined error message. I thought of first deleting the file from data files folder prior to loading the updated file. Unfortunately, the 2 files that need to be updated do not appear in the data files list. And this means that I cannot delete the bad files because I cannot see them. And I also cannot load an updated file. Okay. Have any of you guys ever experienced, if you've deleted a file out, that it's, or not deleted a file out, but something has become corrupted in the file, and then you can no longer see the file in the data files?
No, I mean, I'm reading through the questionnaires. I haven't seen that one in particular. It's Thomas here, but I'm just thinking about what might be. I mean, that to me for sure probably requires like a, you know, so if we want to go deeper into that, we probably need to open up a support ticket on that one anyway to go, you know, on the app, you know, on the tenant ID level, more into the kind of file store in particular, to see if we can kind of, you know, do something behind the scenes here, like, you know, repairing that way, because yeah, that's all. I mean, if we know, I mean, there's like API access to the tenant. We could try to kind of delete something by using the CLI, but that's not really on the data file level. So I'm just brainstorming here a bit right now because I haven't seen this myself, but I don't know if anyone, you know, Adam or George from, you know.
Yeah, so there is a new functionality that can show you data files. Can I share my screen really quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let me share my screen. All right. You guys, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
So you can see where my different spaces inside of my support.us.qlikcloud. So in these different shared spaces, one of the things I can do is I can actually go and look at the data associated with this space. So Jamie was just showing where you can go inside of the data manager for a particular app. But if you're uploading it to the environment, one of the things you could check is for the apps in that space, what data sources would they and data connections would they have access to? This is a relatively new feature. I think it was shipped in September, right? So one of the things that you can do though, is you can actually duplicate, move, and delete these data sources here. So what it may be is, and this is again, postulating this would be sort of some of the stuff we would check on a support case. The first thing we want to know is, do you actually see this file in a location like this, whether it's in the data management service or whether it's in the space itself, right? If you do, can you delete it? Because it might be that the file itself is corrupted, but the metadata associated with that file didn't get deleted. So every time you try to add it back, it's like, hey, I've already got a file like that and I can't touch it, right? The other thing that you can do is you can try uploading it in a different way. So one of the things that I have here is Qlik Data Transfer. So Qlik Data Transfer is a great tool for users that want to get their data up from a file location. One of the things you mentioned is, hey, I updated this file. Can I do something with it, right? So that would be another thing that we could try is, if I have a folder watch on my server, does that work effectively, right? And so those are some of the things that we would want to see from a troubleshooting perspective. The last thing that you can check is under the administrations panel. Though visibility into it is kind of hard, one of the things we can check is, okay, you attempted that delete, you got a failure. Did you adequately get a success or a failure in the events for that service? Now, one of the things that I know that we have on the roadmap is improvement to this area, but for right now, at the very least, what you should be able to do is see if data is getting updated or not, when it was, size of that was, what have you. So as of right now, those are the things that we could do in the UI. If you open up a support case, as Thomas was mentioning, there are more things we could do as a support organization to try to help you out to get to the bottom of that.
Perfect. That's really great. Thank you for sharing that, Adam. I think that's useful for anyone to know that you have the ability to check the events and different ways to like upload things. So you can always try those. I know that they said that they can't upload the updated file, so maybe trying it a different way will help. But also, I'd be interested to know if there's the same error message or a different error message that happens with that upload, because that would be the first course of action that I would take, is just try to override it. So yeah, that was great. Thank you.
The other thing you may want to try, if you haven't already, is if the file you're uploading, just try renaming that file and see if it uploads. I don't know if Jamie or Adam mentioned that already, but
we have. That's a great point.
That's right. Yeah.
And if that doesn't work, then maybe there's something with that particular file. So you may want to try that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And you can always try it in QlikSense Desktop as well, because if you can't open it in QlikSense Desktop, the chances are the file might actually be corrupt.
Yeah, that's a great point. All right. So let's see, what's the next question that we have? I have a load script that has been running well for a long time. Now I'm getting the following error halfway through the script execution for no explainable reason. The following error occurred, connector error, socket closed. How do I troubleshoot? Has anyone seen this error? Has anyone seen that error?
No, not seeing the error. I was kind of just looking here into some of my stuff. I mean, so first of all, what I can say here, that's more, like a general kind of statement on that one. So this goes without saying. So we know that we want to expose more kind of fine-grained logging informations on that screen, because we did talk about the scheduling before. So the scheduling and the reload kind of comes to the hub, or it's already available in the hub. And you can see some part of the log file, but not the same level of log file, for instance, to what you can see like within the QlikSense on Windows composition. So that is something that we are, looking into to bring that back the same level. That's on that particular topic, to give you more like a, line by line kind of way to look into the actual log file. So that's on that one. I'm just kind of thinking about, like options to,
I would say the one thing here to try, again, maybe Adam can chime in here, but because I think the question was, it's been running for a very long time, and you're getting the error on a socket close or script execution. Again, if you haven't already tried with a kind of smaller amount of data, and if that successfully works, then it probably is something to do with the amount of time it's taking and the timeouts or something. Now, what those are exactly, I wouldn't know off the top of my head, but maybe Adam or George could.
Yeah, I'll answer. So
Yeah.
in addition to, so let's kind of work through it logically, right? You have reload, you have an app. That reload has been running a long time. Some of the things that you might want to check, right? And obviously this error messaging could be better, but one of the things that we would want to check is exactly what Alistair said. What is the size of the data that you're bringing in? ClickSense Business does have limitations on the size that we accept, just because it's a business account. There's only, you can allocate engines of a certain size, and those engines are what actually transforms and runs your data, right? So if there's engines of a certain size, you got to have files of a certain size. And so with that, one of the things you would want to do is absolutely what Alistair said. Try a smaller set of data. Does it work? Awesome. If it still doesn't work, even with limiting the date time and the script or something along those lines, one of the other things, and Jamie's bringing up what those limitations are in memory, but remember, in memory is different than the file size necessarily. So one of the other things you would want to check is if this has been running a long time, there's a very real chance that the data connections you're using have changed. Now, my hope would be that we would present the error of saying, hey, I can't get to this data source, right? But if it's a REST call or something else, I can't necessarily guarantee what the error message is going to be for that connector. So that would be the place where you would want to go through step by step in the data load editor, you know, with debug turned on, going step by step as we get to it to see what part of the script is actually throwing that WebSocket connector error, right? The last thing that I would want to check, and this is maybe a little bit more inside baseball, is if you're using smaller data set and you're still running into the issue, and you've checked all of your data connections, is it possible that the error you're experiencing in the UI is actually your browser and not necessarily the reload? So you've said, hey, the reload seems to be failing, right? Well, do you see that in the logs? Do you see that in the console events? Because if that shows a success, but you're getting this WebSocket error, it could be your browser's timing out, right? And so we just want to make sure where specifically you're getting the error so that we know kind of what part of the application is implicated. Does anybody have any other ideas about some things to check?
I think that's good. It's a good starting point. It gives them some things that they can take a look at. Thank you, Adam.
Always happy to answer a question like that because they come up pretty often.
They do. All right. So next question. Oh, everyone, you know, we have about, 10 minutes or so left. So make sure you're getting your questions into the Q&A panel. And if we don't get to your question, that's okay. We will make sure that we answer it for the FAQ. So just let us know what questions you have. Use the Q&A panel, and we will try to get to them in the last 10 minutes of the session. It's gone by very fast. It's always pretty quick. All right. So let's see. How do I add additional seats to ClickSense Business? Also, if needed, can I remove seats?
We'll take this one. So yeah, adding the seats once you have it purchased kind of already is quite easy. So let me share my screen. Share. So basically, we're going to go to back to Qlik where we were earlier. There's tons of different ways to get there. So one way to get back to Qlik if you're logged into your hub is just go to settings and then account settings, and that will take you to Qlik. You can also type in myqlik.qlik.com/portal. It will take you here as well. And then you can also go from qlik.com once you're logged into there's an option to go to Qlik. But once you're here, you can go under subscriptions. Unfortunately, since this is a company account, I don't have a subscription there, but I do have a good version of one. So basically, once you're under the subscriptions tab in Qlik, you will see your subscription here, your current subscription, whatever, how many seats you have, and then kind of your other basic information. You can just go to add seats. It'll take you through the what you want to do. So you just select the number of users, see the prices here, and keep going through. Note that this, since you'll be purchasing maybe 6 months into it or 1 month into it, it will be a prorated cost. So whatever seat, ever how many users you get will be prorated for the rest of the term you have. So it won't just be you paying the full price. Your credit card information may already be entered, but you may have to enter it again. And you just go through the process and then payment successful. And as soon as you're done with that, the seats should be added, where you can then just start assigning them, inviting users, and all that good stuff. Let's see, and if you want to remove seats, so you can remove seats, but that will only show once the term is ended. So basically you've already paid for your full year of these users. So when you remove the seats, that will not show until your next term. So it just, it's best to just keep using those seats, and then towards your end of your term, you can decide whether you want to get rid of them or not, because you've already paid the full year for them.
Perfect. That makes sense. Thank you, George.
Yeah.
All right. So this question is actually one we get quite frequently. Will end printing ever be added to QlikSense Business, like a SaaS version of end printing or an add-on or something like that? My guess is that's a Thomas question.
Yeah, well, I can take that one. So Alice and I would, we talked about, something very similar. Well, actually today I think we even had a similar question coming from a kind of completely different angle. But so the point is the end printing itself. So to make that kind of crystal clear, so end printing as a product will not be made kind of SaaS available. That's to be clear. But we are kind of working on, there is a very kind of clear roadmap in terms of collaboration and reporting capabilities coming into the SaaS product as a native capability, right? So that's what you're going to see over, the next couple of, releases. And as we are releasing every month, so just to reiterate that one, so in SaaS, you're going to see like, once a month a new release. So you will see updates and improvements and new capabilities on that particular topic over time. So that's what we can say here.
Perfect.
And just to add on that one, I think these capabilities that Thomas is talking about will be more integrated into the experience, and the idea will be a lot simpler to use also than the current end printing. So, enabling, let's say, reporting in general for more business users, whereas end printing, to a certain extent, was a separate kind of external product, a little bit more, required more setup and more expertise. But the direction we're going in is, letting business users create reports. Just thought I'd mention that too.
Perfect. That's great. Like we kind of said earlier, putting everything in one place makes it a lot easier for our end users. So I'm sure that they appreciate that. Perfect. Thank you, guys. So another question for probably the both of you, and you guys don't have to get too in depth on this one. I know that it's about what's coming for QlikSense Business, so what's on the roadmap. I know you guys, we do have another session hosted by Qlik Community, that's product roadmaps. So you guys everyone should stay tuned for those, but if you guys can speak a little bit on what's to come.
I think so. Someone, I don't know, it was actually like you, Jamie, you shared, there was this kind of, pricing / comparison kind of page, the one that we have seen before. So that one is a good one to, first of all, get an understanding of, where are the differences between business and enterprise. And then the next thing I would say, so there is not a particular roadmap for QlikSense Business. So we have a roadmap for QlikSense as a product. And that's focusing, the SaaS product, right? And that kind of includes the business and the enterprise. And then, as you can see, there are like some differentiators, like for instance, how many kind of shared spaces and or managed spaces you can use. What's the max app size, of an app in memory. But again, the roadmap is like for QlikSense as a SaaS product, but we're not differentiating here like from, business or enterprise. We are kind of making, based on the subscription level, probably some decisions on what features are we exposing, but not really like a dedicated roadmap for business in that way. So,
Gotcha.
In terms of themes, though, I think we've touched on a few already. The last one we just talked about was around collaboration, reporting. You'll see enhancements on the, let's say, notifications and alerting side. So today, that piece is really just about, for example, you've reloaded an application, but you'll see, finer grained capabilities in notifications and alerting, again, collaboration reporting, but also I think that general area around augmented analytics, being able to search and suggestions and things like that. So as Thomas was saying, business in itself doesn't have, it is one roadmap for the product. I would say on the enterprise side, to a certain extent, it is more about, governance and management and things like that. That will be on the enterprise side. But in general, the analytics capabilities are common across both.
Perfect. Yep. Great. Thank you, guys. All right. So I think we have time for one last question. And that is, we talked a little bit about it, like troubleshooting earlier. And it's, do I have access to QlikSense Desktop with my QlikSense Business subscription? And the answer is yes.
Yes. Which is it's a good page actually. So no, I was just like the page you're like on here right now. If you scroll down like a bit, you can actually see it here on that page too, right? That this is embedded, because there is actually on one of the, if you scroll down, like there you go. Like, they have this, like a.
Oh, we're here. Yep.
Desktop client, and that's available on both kind of. So yeah.
Yep. And to get access to that, I can just show you really quick if I can get my browser to come on over. So if you go back to the hub, and this one is under settings. I always get a little bit confused between the settings and administration side, because then there's settings within the administration and, account settings. There's lots of settings. Anyway, so if you're here under settings, there's the QlikSense Desktop, and it allows you to download the latest version of QlikSense Desktop. And you do want to make sure that you are using the latest version. They do, I believe they do expire as well. So you need to make sure that you stay on top of updating QlikSense Desktop. But then you can authenticate. So you'll open up, open QlikSense browser. I don't know if it popped up. It might have went to a different screen. But that will allow you then, oh, here it comes. It's opening up QlikSense Desktop. And it'll allow you to sign in with your tenant. So you can just click on that and then sign into QlikSense Desktop. So that will allow you to authenticate to QlikSense Desktop with your QlikSense Business subscription. So it's pretty easy. You just want to make sure that you download from here, and then once it's downloaded, you can.
So it would seem like we're having some battery issues.
But yes, as she was saying, you can authenticate with QlikSense Business or any SaaS version. There's a great video on the community if you just search how to authenticate QlikSense Desktop with SaaS.
You can also download Qlik Data Transfer that I was displaying earlier that way. And that's just a different paradigm for thinking about data watch, data connectors, and other things. Allows you to test those in a local environment and then port them up to the SaaS as you need.
I think Jamie did say that that was the last question. So with that, I will wrap it up. And thank everyone for joining today. I hope we were able to answer some of your questions. Remember, the transcript and the recording of this will be placed in the Talk to Experts Tuesday board in the Qlik community. And thank you very much and have a good day. And thanks to our panelists for answering all the questions and being so awesome. And I will talk to you guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.